Okay, this is a follow-up on cutting fiber over transfer trip. So I've increased the frequency of the trips to something around 10 Hertz, and I'm transmitting a trip here that has a duration of 24 milliseconds. That's what I measure right there. And I'm gonna make the trace persistent. This way, if something happens in between, we should be able to capture it. And what I'm going to do now is perform a number of fiber cuts. And I'll be able to see here if indeed the fiber cuts are sub 50 milliseconds. So let's go ahead and just cut fiber back and forth. Primary, so everything is running on this fiber, cutting this one. And I'm seeing here the actual cuts. They're pretty fast. XTran does recover very, very fast. It's sub 50 millisecond. Like this one was around 50 millisecond. So let's take a look at these counters. I have a feeling that we haven't lost any trips. However, as we can see here, we have a number of delayed trips, as we discussed and described before, and those are the shadowy traces that we see. So if I slow down the meter, well, that's quite interesting. What I see now is that indeed we did lose one trip over this. So we have here 1306 on the left and 1305. And I think that if I could coordinate or synchronize the moment that I cut the fiber with the moment that the trip is sent, which is not something I can do right now because I'm pulling the fiber more or less at a random time, and I did that like I don't know, something like 7 or 8 times. But I see here that I'm losing some trip. So of course this is to be expected because the trip duration is very short and I'm sending a whole bunch of them. But what I want to show you next is a feature that we have on XTran that's exclusive and very unique, which is called hitless. For example, the T1 tester that I have here is currently running in a hitless mode, and as you can see here, it has not experienced any errors whatsoever because it actually is sending information not in the primary fiber waiting for a cut and then switching over to secondary upon detection of a cut, but it's using both primary and backup. So what I'm going to do next is set up a service over hitless, and we'll see what happens with the shadowy stuff and so on. So it should be fairly straightforward. Actually, maybe I could show you how I do this. So I'm going to modify the DTT here. And I'm going to say hitless switching, use a single path. So this is where I enable hitless. Click on next. It's going to say where is your primary path. I'm going to use a unprotected right here, the first fiber, and simultaneously use the second one right there. This is the packetization. I'm pretty pleased with that, and that gives me a 2.5 millisecond delay on the XTran. That's very acceptable. Priority 5. Next. Finish. Load it up. And of course, while it's loading, the system goes into alarm, right? Because it loses the current service that I'm reestablishing, and the trips also are going to be lost. If I look here on 21, so the trips are lost until this thing will come back and recover. It's almost done. See, it's loading right now, and that's almost done. So let me stop this video and come back. There you go. I think now the service is back.